Hollywood.
This is Hollywood, and there's not a place in the world that's like it.
Hollywood. Joe.
Man, I love this town.
Hi, I'm Hollywood Joe, and I want to welcome you to the show. Now, if this is the first time you've tuned in, well, shame on you. You don't know what you're missing. But today, boy, I tell you, we got a great one for you. We are at the Hollywood Entertainment Museum. Now, this is the best kept secret in Hollywood. This place is marvelous. Now, we got the curator himself that's going to show us around. His name is Chris. He knows everything there is to know about movies. I'll tell you something, this guy knows more than Hollywood Joe. So come on in, have a good time. We'll see what's cooking. Come on, right this way. I love it. I never knew that a place like this existed in the world, much less in Hollywood. And I tell you, it's Hollywood Joe, I'm ashamed of myself because I'm going to bring the family back here and take a day tour of this place and really soak it up. This is really what the Hollywood used to be about. I love it. I really love it. I'll tell you, if you're just a little bit of a movie buff, this is the place to come. Every place you look, every turn, there's a memory, there's something that's going to make you smile. You gotta love this place. Hollywood Entertainment Museum, right next to the Grauman's Chinese Theater. Easy to find, it's downstairs, and it's worth it. It's the best place I've been in Hollywood.
Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments, the 1956 version.
Yeah.
Now, the original, the 23 version that he did, he shot up in Santa Rosa on the dunes, and he actually built life-size sets. But for this version, the ramparts and the walls were miniatures, and these are two of the miniatures that survive from that movie.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you this, Chris, because now I had heard that when he, after he finished the film, because it was all about money, and it was less expensive to bury the sets than it was to tear them down. Is that the true story?
That is the truth. I did a big exhibit about it because there are people now trying to fundraise to do an archaeological dig of a movie set of an Egyptian from ancient times, right?
Is this art imitating life? Or
and I've been up to the dunes, and you can go and you can dig and you can find bits and pieces and artifacts. They are indeed all buried. Now the problem is, he not only buried the set, he actually had bulldozed it. So it's even though the sand may have preserved it, it's in pieces, you know. So I don't know if they'll ever get. It's kind of a pipe dream to want to do it. But in any case, just the concept is great. We're only known,
Gosh. But these, at least you got these,
yes,
and these are from the original set of the Ten Commandments. Cecil B. DeMille. Wow. And this is from the
the Maskers Club.
Maskers Club.
This thing's from the Maskers, but this piano was at the Maskers for decades, and everyone who performed there would have to sign the piano. So you know, you have unbelievable numbers of signatures, and so that makes this piano like priceless. I mean, literally priceless. How can you put a value on this thing, given all these signatures? You know. Wow. So Basil Rathbone, you know, and Peter Lawford, and Monty Blue. Let's see, who are some other famous ones we've got here?
Well, all the names here. I mean, back in Jack
Woods,
LaRue.
There are lots and lots of people that, if you're a movie buff, you know them, but you're not the general public. But you know, Frank Capra, Pat O'Brien, Buster Keaton, Ronald Coleman, Bing Crosby, Edward G. Robinson, you know, Joey Brown, Gene Autry. They all signed it.
And they've all signed here on the piano, and oh my goodness. Well, what an incredible piece of history this is. I mean, this deserves a museum all by itself here, and I love. At least you have a special space here.
Right.
To and the Maskers Club. Now, is this a program that I can open here?
Yes,
or,
of course. This is for their 50th anniversary. They put out this booklet.
50th anniversary
on the history of the Maskers.
Yeah, and so it was opened in 1925, and that was still the golden era of silent movies. And
in fact, the Maskers have recently been revived, and they are now functioning as an organization. They have their own website, and they're doing events again and stuff. So it's real interesting.
My golly.
That they'd come back too, just like Hollywood. They're coming back.
Well, now is there has to be somebody behind this that is spearheading this.
That's right. That's right.
And putting it together. That's. So there are people out there that care.
And this is the piano that belonged to Bud Abbott of Abbott and Costello.
Well,
this was his original personal piano that he had in his home, and that was graciously donated to us by a neighbor who Bud Abbott's wife had given the piano to after he passed.
Well, now, this in my mind, I mean, this is the greatest comedy team that ever lived. I mean, Martin and Lewis were terrific, of course. I love it. But these guys, Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, I grew up with these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let me just a little bit of Hollywood trivia. I had heard, and I don't know, Chris, that the straight man always made more than the funny guy. Have you ever heard that? So
always made more?
Like the straight man that Bud Abbott, I heard, got paid 60%. Lou Costello got 40%.
Yeah, you may be right. I haven't seen their contract, so I can't tell you for sure.
Well, until you prove me wrong, right. You heard it from Hollywood Joe.
This is an original Technicolor camera, one of the 20 cameras used for Gone with the Wind.
One of the 20 cameras. I keep repeating you. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's just fascinating.
And the interesting thing about this camera, excuse me, is that Technicolor was not color film. Technicolor was black and white film. In fact, it was 3 different strips of black and white film that covered different parts of the light spectrum. And from the 3 negatives, they would make matrices to print then, and you get your color image that way.
Wow.
But it was actually black and white film.
My goodness.
And that's why it's so wide.
Yeah. And there was actually 3 film cartridges in there?
3 different strips, and the light would have to. That's why you needed an unbelievable amount of light, because you had to have that light exposing all 3 negatives. Mm-hmm. And 2 of them were back to back, so you needed even more light.
Wow.
And as a result of that, of course, because you had 2 negatives back to back, the original Technicolor, and when you see Technicolor from the old days, it's always a little bit soft because that second negative could not get as sharp because the light had to pass through the first negative. So
things that you never think of, but by golly, it makes perfect sense. And now there were 20 of these cameras?
20 of these cameras. Wow. They were built specifically for that production because, now before that, they made a couple Technicolor films, but nothing anywhere near the scope and size of Gone with the Wind. So.
And now the cost of one of these cameras is like the budget on a lot of films that are made independently today.
Yeah, I mean these and the craftsmanship that went into these cameras is unbelievable.
Wow.
This is a VistaVision camera. Now, in the 1950s, of course, Hollywood decided the only way to get people to go back to the movie theaters or keep them in the movie theaters was to have widescreen films, right? So Paramount and Warner's came up with a system called VistaVision, and that was a system where the film ran horizontally past the lens, not vertically, but horizontally, and it would expose 2 35mm frames at the same time to give you a 70mm image.
70mm camera.
Which was a much bigger image, and you could throw a much bigger image onto the screen. The problem was, of course, that the movie theaters didn't want to buy new projectors that ran horizontally, right? Because that's what they would have had to do. So the system kind of failed in that sense, although it was used for years. They would still shoot with this camera and then reduce it to 35 because you'd get a much sharper image and you could blow that up.
And they'd shoot these marvelous epics back in, and this was, of course, we all know that TV just took such a hunk out of the market for the movies. They were looking for any and everything to get the people back into the seats in the theaters. Chris, you're the best. God bless you. Thank you so very much. And
glad to have you.
Well, thanks for having us, and thanks for being such a great host. And we'll see you in the movies.
Great.
Okay, bye-bye, Chris.
I would like to do something a little different than maybe how people have perceived me. And there are many actors that are able to do that.
Hey! Hey! What is your problem, man?
You're welcome.
What the heck is wrong with you?
What do you mean?
Don't give me that! All right, what's going on here, fellas?
The missile was about to hit the school. I just acted as fast as I could.
That doesn't change the fact that I don't have a car anymore. Who just throws a person's car at a missile?
You're serious?
Yeah, who's gonna pay for my car?
I guess I could.
Do you even have a real job?
Yes.
Do you have insurance?
I saw the whole thing. Call me.
How do you convince a 14-year-old girl that hair doesn't matter? When the diagnosis is childhood cancer, where can parents turn? CureSearch.org can help. It's run by doctors and scientists whose research has led to an overall cure rate of 78%. You're not as alone as you feel.
Recycling a glass bottle saves enough energy to run the TV you're watching for 1 full hour. Recycle. It's the everyday way to save the world.
I was hanging out with some people. Now I realize I shouldn't have. The work was so hard. It was just going fast, fast, fast.
I got kicked out of school, and nobody cared about me, so I don't care.
I sort of got messed up into gangs and other stuff. School was very difficult.
I was expelled from school. I mean, the one person who really got me to go back into school was my friend Kevin.
At my friend's graduation, I'm gonna be the loudest one there. Because if you don't have anybody while you're in school, then there's not really a way to get through it.
We want to make a stop here at the Silver Spur Stables. Now, I just did a movie called The Tailor at the beginning of the year, and this is where I came to learn how to ride a horse. I've been an actor for over 30 years, and it's the first Western I've ever done. And when I was here, learning how to ride this horse, it was incredible. Hi, big guy. How you doing, sweetheart? It's incredible how many other actors that you would recognize that are down here trying to learn how to ride themselves. But how you doing, big guy? You are beautiful. You really are. You're a beautiful horse. One thing you got to remember about horses, they're bigger than you are and they kick like hell. Do you have a lot of actors that come here to learn how to ride horses for TV shows? No. No? Well, I had to learn how to ride a horse for a movie called The Tailor, and they told me they got the horse from this stable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. How long you been here, Gar?
I've only been here a year.
Well, where you from?
I'm from Santa Clarita Valley.
Santa Clarita Valley, yeah. You must love horses, man. This is kind of like a city here to ride horses, though, isn't it? Yeah. How many horses you got here?
Well, the rentals are about 20.
Well, apparently Gar's only been here a year, and he doesn't understand. All the big stars that go here to ride horses, I guess they do it after he's off of work. So, here we are at Stevens Hay and Grain. Now, I've been told to come here to buy doggy biscuits for Linda Blair for payment for this interview that we're about to get from her. So, this is what we have to come up with, and this is a big budgeted item. But anyway, let's go in and check it out and see what kind of doggy biscuits Linda Blair's puppies eat. Linda Blair is back on the big screen. Tell us a little bit about it, if you would, Linda.
Clint Howard, of course, is Ron Howard's brother. And we did a little student film. You try to help your community, and you want to help the young filmmakers coming up. So I had met Clint, and we, like you and I, got along very well. And so he called and he said, well, you know, there's a little movie you might be interested in. I don't know. I think, though, you could talk to the director, and then maybe he could, you know, do some stuff with the role. So anyway.
That's exactly how he sounds, by the way. She does Clint Howard better than Clint Howard does Clint Howard.
It's a dark comedy, and it's an ensemble cast. Stephen Bauer from Scarface plays my husband.
Oh, wow. And
then it's a bunch of newcomers out of Florida. And it's a festival film, so it may only do the festivals. It could come out in theaters. We're not exactly sure. We'll see how it goes on the market, but it was fun. I got to play a little comedy, nice comedy. Yes. And
you're a natural at comedy.
I love comedy. And thank you. I love comedy. I grew up watching Carol Burnett and Lucille Ball, and those are my favorite. Those are my idols. And so I would love that maybe enough time has passed that people can, Hollywood could see that I would like to do something a little different than maybe how people have perceived me. And there are many actors that are able to do that. And then there are others that it's more difficult for us to get the work that we would like to get. Yeah. And so we'll see what happens with that. But they always say work begets work. And so hopefully the right people will see it and say, I like that. And that's fun. And let's have her. So we'll see. I do rescue. The foundation is called Linda Blair World Heart Foundation for animal and human welfare. I've always loved animals, and they've taught me so much. When I got older, I was like everybody else. I just thought, everybody has different jobs. You can volunteer at a hospital, you can volunteer with the elderly, handicapped, whatever you're choosing. And we show up at events, we lend our hand. But it wasn't until I lost both my dogs, passed away from age, and my mother passed away from cancer, and I was feeling pretty lost in my life. I had a vision while I was crying and not sure what to do, why I lost everything I loved. I had a vision of animals in the shelter saying, what about me? What did I do wrong? Where's my person? And it changed my life forever. Say I've got probably right now 15 under the foundation, which isn't a lot as far as rescue, but it's a lot because I'm still the main volunteer. I have to run around. I have to go to this vet. I go to the shelters to pick up the mothers and the babies. Then I either raise them in my home, or I raise them through different fosters, or I raise them at vets to keep them as healthy as possible. The shelters around the country have almost any animal that somebody could possibly want. We absolutely ask people not to purchase puppies anymore, but to please go into a shelter and find, it can be a 6-month-old. You can find a puppy in there. You could find a 1-year-old or a 3-year-old and not have to go through all of the eating your slippers and your shoes and your clothes and the house training. People forget. Sometimes the older dogs are just as fabulous and wonderful and loving, and they've been through the phases where you're like, oh, this is so hard. I do that work, and then I allow them to be the best they can so the people that adopt have a wonderful companion that fits right away into their family. Or I'll take an animal that's sick and offer it medical care. Or I will help somebody to spay and neuter. That's what the foundation does. And I also think that's why with The Exorcist, if I had done films that were maybe more what I wanted to be in Flipper and Lassie, but I didn't get Flipper or Lassie, I would have been happy. But really, the public is more interested in that silly movie. So it does give me a platform, and also to tackle some of the harder issues. So I think this is my journey, Joe. I'm supposed to do what I'm doing.
And this has become the hub. This here really is the off-Broadway of Los Angeles.
Oh, hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey.
Where have you been?
I lost my cat.
Oh, that's not right.
Yeah, so I made this cat magnet to try and get him back.
Cool. Does it work?
Kinda.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's not my cat. Gotta keep working on it. See ya.
See ya.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org.
Welcome home, man.
When life's this hard, graduating can be even harder. But you can help Jose and the students in your community make it through by visiting boostup.org.
What you're looking at here and what we're coming up to is in Hollywood what they call Theater Row. And of course, why they call it Theater Row is obvious. Got Rebel Planet, Grand Junction. Wow, and you know what? Got tape. The plays down here are terrific. The talent is terrific. And this has become the hub. This here really is the off-Broadway of Los Angeles. It's great theater. Now also here, tonight they got acting classes. So we're gonna go up, kind of crash one of these acting classes, see if we can get some interviews with the actors. Why they're here, how they're doing in Hollywood, why they came here in the first place, where they think they're going. So come on, follow me and let's see if we can get in here. You are students, I understand, of the Will Wallace acting class. And Will Wallace, of course, is not here today. But anyway, I want to thank you for letting me come here and talk to you about what it is to be an actor and what it is to be an actor in Hollywood. And we got some great folks out here, some very serious professional actors. And we wanted to see what made them tick, why they're here in town, where they came from, of course, what their names are, what are their hopes and aspirations, what they've done, what they hope they do.
I'm from a working class family, and we were raised in the ghettos of Boston. And one of the greatest opportunities we had was to go to that little neighborhood house theater and watch all the swashbuckling Errol Flynn movies and the tough Humphrey Bogart films, and then leave and go into an abandoned kind of what we call the dump, which is where they tore down a brownstone, and reenact the movie. It turns out that my best role that I know that I did as a kid was playing the Hunchback, the Charles Lawton thing, and I would chase all my friends around. It was absolutely great.
I spent a lot of my childhood in juvenile detention and even more time doing illegal activities behind 7-Eleven for milk money.
Well, actually, my first acting experience was on the stage, and I got to play Jesus, which was intense. You know, obviously pretty big character.
The Sacrificial Virgin, I got to wear big bows on my tatas, and I got stabbed to death by George W. Bush.
And he was supposed to tie the top of the cross to the scaffolding, but since he didn't know what he was doing because he wasn't supposed to be there because the other guy was in jail, he didn't tie the cross, and it got to about a 45-degree angle before the Virgin Mary and Joseph both screamed words that I can't really say at the moment, and a couple guards dove and grabbed the ropes that were holding it and caught it.
In 10 years from now, if I'm lucky, I'll end up in a career as a porno star.
I love it. I've had other jobs on a professional level, but they've always been work to me. Here it's not work. Finding work, pushing my agent, researching, all of this is not work. When you get the job, I feel like, I feel as though I hit the lottery.
Hopefully, someday we'll tread the boards together. But God bless. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all in the movies.
Well, Joe.